This is a journey. It is ongoing. On the other side of where I am right now, there is something to be obtained, but I will never know if I was able to obtain it if I don't continue to go. On the other side of it, though, there's something there that is sure, that is guaranteed, but I will never know. I will never obtain it if I quit.
Welcome to the Birth Education Center podcast, hosted by myself, Care Messer, an entrepreneur, birth educator, and doula. My team and I want to help you discover your options in birth and postpartum, how to find your voice, and how to use that voice to navigate our maternal healthcare system. You and your baby are not just a number. This information includes doulas too. Now let's get started. Welcome back to today's show. Today's a mentoring call with Niki, and Niki's in Houston. And Niki and I have known each other for, I want to say 3 years. Niki found me randomly. This is how God did this. I was saying, whoever I'm supposed to be working with right now, or if it's supposed to be a big group, small group, whatever, I just put out the mentoring program or the doula education program that week again, after we had just finished a thing. And I just thought, I'm not even going to advertise it. I'm just going to put it out because it's whoever is supposed to be. I kept feeling like there was a group or somebody, but I didn't know who. And then not randomly, Niki found me through another doula in San Diego who posted something in her stories, but somehow it ran across Niki's stories. And anyways, that's how we hooked up. And our first conversation was like such a God thing that we finished each other's sentences. We both like pink. We were both in a funky place. And anyway, Niki, welcome. And I'm glad you're here. Do you have anything to say about how we met?
Thank you so much for having me. There's a lot that I could say about how we met. I absolutely agree with what you said. That was nothing more than a miracle. It was an answer to prayer. And I opened up this particular platform, and literally coming off of prayer, I'm like, God, I need something. I need to move in some direction. And I randomly opened this post and I reached out just on a whim. Okay, the worst that I can do is send this message and get no response. And it was before I could even wake up the next morning. I had a response from you. And our first call, it was like this instant connection. There was no judgment. It was welcome, just good to meet you. And immediately we just talked, we just vibed. It was just a vibe. And so I'm just grateful for the very first conversation that we had. And of course, everyone after, but definitely the very first conversation.
Yeah, we did. And I'm glad you felt welcome because that's how I feel about birth work. What's our intent? Why are we here? I believe that birth work is more about self-work, and then we help others around us. And that comes in all shapes or forms. It's definitely not competitive. It's creative instead of competitive. Yeah, we did vibe. We still vibe. And I think we mentored and did classes for over a year.
Yeah, we did.
Like we just kept meeting every 2 weeks. And what else were we doing? We really went deep dive. It was so fun.
It was a lot of fun. And at first I didn't, and I know that we'll get into that in just a little bit, but at first I didn't understand like why some of the lessons, some of the things that we would talk about when I would be writing, I didn't understand what does this mean. So now that I am a little bit further in on this journey, things are starting to make sense. Why you had me do certain things, why we talked about certain things, why there were certain exercises and activities that we did. And so it all just come full circle. And I'm thrilled every time I see a message from you, a call, any of that. I'm thrilled even after 3 years.
And I feel the same way every time I see you go live on TikTok.
Well,
I'm like, there she is. There she is in her pink talking to people. I love it. I love that you are brave enough to do that. And you just jump on and you're just like, let's talk. Like freaking fantastic. That's how you will attract your vibe. And you know that the people will find you because of who you are. And you know how I feel about you.
Yeah. And I don't think that you realize the push that you gave me. It wasn't, some people are pushy. You understand what I'm saying? Some people are pushy, but it was a push. It wasn't like, oh, I'm pushy and I'm all in your business and you're going to do things this way. No, it was a push. It was a nudge in the right direction. It was very natural. And I'm so grateful. I don't think I tell you thank you enough, but thank you.
You do, and I appreciate it. And I want to tell our audience, Niki is a master orator.
Thank you.
This woman can expel information and get her words so concise and so inspirational. And she's amazing. Like, she should be a pastor or something like that, I think, but in the birth world, because what she says is full of inspiration and knowledge. And she uses her own life experience to express that, which is why I'm always after you to quit hiding behind the stupid words on the screen and talk about it, because what you say matters. You're a really good
Thank you.
teacher. And I love listening to you, which is why moms find you,
Yeah.
because they connect with you, right? And especially when it comes to social media, we have to push ourselves in ways that make us feel uncomfortable in order to reach our people, but also to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, because we're the ones that have to speak up in the birth room sometimes. We're the ones that have to say, no, that's not going to work for me to parents sometimes. The more we get to know each other, which is what I think you were talking about when you said some of those exercises, I was like, this chick's wacko. Why is she making me dive into my own birth experience? Then all the ones of
All
my
right.
kids. And then why is she making me look at my relationship with my mother and whatever that is, and how I fit in the society with the mean girls thing. And all of that is to sort out who we
Right.
are, so that baseline, we know who we are when we walk into a birth room and when we walk into a prenatal, to be like, that's not okay
Right.
with me and here's why. And so that we can cultivate the best experiences for everybody that we work with. But that's sorting our own shit out.
Right.
That's not birth work,
Right.
so to speak, but that also prevents burnout, right?
Right.
Yeah, thank you for being patient with me, because I am not everybody's cup of tea, but we work really well
We
together. That's
do.
just how that
We do. And that's another lesson that I learned from you in terms of being eager to receive clients. You told me I'm not going to be everybody's jam. And the people that are sent to you are the people they're supposed to be there. So you were sent to me. You were supposed to be here. So you're my jam care.
I think it goes both ways,
Yeah.
because I feel the exact same way about you. So, first, before we get started, I know that probably mostly doulas are going to be listening to this episode because it's a mentoring episode, but tell me what the birth temperature is in Texas now. What's the vibe going on? How many birth centers do you have in your area? What are the hospitals like? Are people hiring doulas? What's going on in Houston area?
So it's taken me a while, and I'm still learning actually. It's taken me a while to gauge the temperature here because even though I've been here since 2020, I wasn't doing any birth work. I don't think that a lot of people were doing a lot of birth work because we were in the middle of a pandemic. But just building life, being a mother, and then just personal things, I hadn't had the opportunity to really be out there in my area. So I'm just now learning the area, probably maybe the last year and a half or so. And out here, there are a lot of birth centers. I don't know the exact number, but there are a lot of birth centers. And thank you, that's probably homework. But there are a lot of birth centers. The area where I live is very suburban. And so there are a lot of crunchy moms out here. There are a lot of people who do desire more natural experiences in terms of their birth. Even though there are hospitals, I find in this particular area that it should be an area that will yield a lot of opportunities for doulas. It has not. Not at least not for me and the people that I have been connected with. It's a really good area, but there's a lot of diversity. And some people, they prefer a certain type of doula, and you find cliques. And so if you're not in the clique, then it's like you can't sit with us. And that is my experience. That's not exclusive for everyone, but the people who I've had the opportunity to connect with, they've had similar experiences. And so it's a little bit difficult to find the people that you click with in this area and then get the opportunities for births for yourself.
So, click with meaning the professional groups, clique-ish, or parent
So it's
clique-ish?
more on the professional side. A lot of moms that I run across, they're very interested to know what I do. And so they're very open to learning about what a doula is and how a doula would benefit them. But if you run across moms like that or people, clients that way, that's a personal connection that you've made with them. But if you're looking to network, to bring in additional clientele, there's not a lot of other doulas in the area that are putting themselves out there. And then on the other side of it, when you have your healthcare providers or birthing centers, they're not out there advertising, hey, come over here with us, come and bring you clients, and we'll just have this relationship where it's a one-stop shop. And the area where I moved from, that is the climate that was the temperature for the area where I was in Central Texas. Of course, I was at a military base. And so if you're looking for a lactation consultant, if you're looking for a chiropractor, if you're looking for someone that can do postpartum doula support, that area was very heavy with that. But this particular area, there's not opportunity with it unless you can find the connection in terms of either another doula or birth worker that you know, or if there's some open that ends up happening with a provider.
Okay, so let's work on that.
Yes.
Let's work on that. I will get my wheels turning on there. I probably have more homework for you than you even want today, just because, that's what I do. Hi, let me give you more stuff to work on. But there are cliques everywhere.
Yes.
So just know that is old school, mean girl stuff. We have it in San Diego. When I first came into doula work, there were like 9 doulas that were super tight, and they kind of governed the whole place. And if you didn't fit into the hierarchy, and I was like, I am not fitting into that hierarchy because that's not who I am. I was the one that was friends with all the groups.
Right.
And so to have that, I don't fit into that group. Like attracts like. And you know that. And even you're vibing with somebody in Columbus, Ohio right now. Doesn't have to be somebody in your area because there's strength in numbers. So you came with a couple questions today. We're going to see how many we can get to. Why don't you ask me your first question?
Okay, so I have a question for you. What advice do you have for a doula who's struggling in business?
Okay, so first I'm going to turn it back on you. And what are you struggling in your business with? And what advice would you give a doula to overcome that? Because I think you know more than you do. You definitely know more than you let on because you are constantly going.
Right.
So tell me what you're struggling with in your business and how you're overcoming it.
So the main thing that I'm struggling with right now is just when the doors don't seem to be opening. It seems like I get to a certain point and then we just stop. I have some connections that I'm making, but the connections that I'm making are not necessarily local. So for me, that means, for example, if I would like to have a client, I need to know that I do have a backup doula. Right now, I only know of maybe 1 or 2 who would back up. And if I'm in a dry season, how many doulas do I have who can say, okay, I'm going to refer this client because I can't take them?
And in your area, are there any doula groups or anything like that?
So most of the doula groups, of course, are going to be on Facebook, and that's not a platform that I utilize a lot. In the groups that I have joined on Facebook, there's not a lot of activity. I have more productivity with TikTok. I've connected with more doulas through TikTok than I have through Facebook. And I do get the one-off, I'm going to refer this client, or, hey, sending you a message, I referred this particular client. This is their due date.
And I'm going to say to get more active on Facebook, right? I hate Facebook. Okay. I hate giving money to Meta. I hate giving FaceTime to Meta. Like, it's just, they're not my people. However, you have to go where the people are. And just like Instagram, we set your Instagram stuff up and you're like, yeah, it's there, but I'm not there. So obviously you're not going to get people from Instagram if you're not present there. Totally get it. The thing I like about Instagram, as I just said, I hate Meta, is that I can post on Instagram and it goes to both places. So it's a one and done, which saves me time. But there are active Facebook groups, especially for Texas. And the thing with networking is somebody in Central Texas knows somebody in Houston. Right. Like there are networks there where I know we cringe when we think, oh my gosh, now should I join Blue Sky? Because there's another one. Or
Right.
should I join? There's so many different places. So it has to be concise, but we just need to be checking it.
Right.
Not all the time, because then we are ruled by our phone, which is not healthy, but also getting very clear with who you're
Yeah.
attracting and what kind of women you want to work
Right.
with. Question, have you done the avatar exercise where you know who and what you're attracting?
No, I'm not even familiar with it. What's that?
Okay, I have mine. Where's my phone? I have my avatar on my phone. This goes for doulas that I'm working with as well as parents. So avatar means your ideal client. And if you are really specific about it and you go over it all the time, you start to create content that attracts that. You start to have conversations that attract that. You start to have that intention before you go to sleep at night. And like attracts like. It's literally a vibration thing, right? So what you're putting out is what you're going to get back. So if you're putting out struggle and this never works for me, whatever, you're going to get that back 100% of the time. Like you have to change your mindset. So figuring out who my ideal client is. So for me, whether they're pregnant or they're a doula that I'm going to be working with, they have to have a sense of humor. We are not going to vibe, right? They have to be hungry to learn, ready to face and work through their fears, not walk away from them, willing to work with discomfort, because I expose that really quickly and that will offend them if they are not ready to like dive into their shadow stuff. Need to be ready to change their mindset and accept new ideas, which is hard for people. Somebody that wants to question what's right for them. And that also means looking at the stories that we've grown up with. For example, my favorite color was always purple because my mom told me it was purple. And I never questioned it until I was like 36 or something. And my friend goes, everything you have is pink. You said purple's your favorite color? And I'm like, yeah, my mom said it was purple. And then after I said that, I thought, that's really stupid. That's coming out of my mouth. But it was my story. No one had ever questioned it. And she's, look at your house. It's pink with glitter. I was like, oh, that might be a cue that I need to figure out what's right for me. So looking at, do I really believe that? Is that really what I want do I really want to not vaccinate, or do I really want to vaccinate? Is that my story, or is it my community
Right.
story? Or is it what my mom told me? So looking at the hard stuff and figuring out what's right for them. Somebody that wants to find their voice and work out why they don't have a voice, because there's a reason it's been systematically taken from us. Open to having hard conversations with themselves and with other people. That gets a lot of people out of me right away because they're just like, yeah, no, into it. Understands their need for support, that they can't do it all alone, that they're not expected to do it all alone, even though that's been our story forever. And then willing to practice and replace old habits. That is my ideal avatar. But I also wouldn't want somebody on here that like can't afford me. I would never put that on
Right.
there. Or I would never put limitations. This is my ideal, that they are open to learning and loving, and that we are on the same wavelength like that, because I'm all of those things. So I'm very clear about who I am. Otherwise, I can put out, I want someone who's this and this, but if I'm not that, like attracts like, I'm not going to get that. So you being very clear about who you want in your realm, like for example, your roommate,
Right.
like the vibe is there, right? You like attracts like. That was like the perfect
Right.
scenario, how
It
that works
was.
out. And that, like your person in Columbus,
Yeah.
you will start to attract that once you know who you are and what you stand for. And that's the first thing I want to do. And then I want to make sure my website reflects
Right.
that. If I'm a Christian doula, I'm putting it on there. Praise Jesus. This is who I am. Will I take all types of clients? Absolutely. I love you, and I'm here to provide the love that God has given me. If I am a hippie who smokes weed on the weekends, I have a backup that covers me on the weekends. Be honest with who you are. Don't try and fit into a box. But overall, changing your mindset of, is it struggling or is it a rest period? Because the universe, God, knows best as to right now, maybe one of your daughters needs her mom all the time. You might not see that, but if you were missing for 4 days at a time, it might be at a critical point where she's going to feel abandoned for the rest of her
Right.
life, but you don't know that. Something greater than you knows that. So I look at struggles as, what am I meant to be learning in this time frame? How am I diving deep on myself? And I look at it as a rest
Right.
period. Does any of that
It
resonate?
all it anything you could read the newspaper to me at this point, Karen. I'll be like, yes, amen.
Probably not the newspaper in America right now, but
But yeah, everything that you say, I take it as teaching and just further mentorship. It all just resonates with me. When you were talking about the rest period the other morning, whenever some people hear God, like audibly hear God. And then some people hear God on the inside. And sometimes I hear God in a whisper on the inside. So the other morning I was asleep and I heard, be still. And I'm like, I'm laying down, I'm being still. What am I supposed to be quiet? Am I supposed to not move? Be still. And absolutely, there are seasons where it will be a rest period. And I know how to receive it sometimes. Initially, I don't know what it is, but yes, I absolutely do agree. But that's a part of the development of wherever you are in your journey, whether it's with being a childbirth doula, childbirth educator, if you're just a mom, if you're just an entrepreneur. So, absolutely, it hit me on all levels. Yeah.
right. And I think that we don't recognize that we're part of nature. Like we feel like we're human, we have a higher mindset, so we're above everything. But we are actually here on a cycle, right, of birth, living, death. And we are on the same cycle that everything else is on. We have high periods of good nutrition and great sunlight, and then lightning will come and strike a limb off us. And then we have to go through that turmoil of trying to grow a new limb, even though we're not growing a new limb, but trying to figure out who we are again. And life is exactly like nature, and we're so distant from it now that sometimes we don't realize that there is a reason there's a winter. And we feel like, but I'm called to this. Awesome. Yes, you probably are. And what can you be creating in the background? Can you be going to other childbirth classes? Can you be meeting new mentors? Can you be writing content for a mini childbirth class that you can post? What is it that would bring life to this and keep the creation going without sacrificing the obvious cycle that we're in? Right? Because if we're in a hurry, panic, I don't know where nature ever does that. There is no hurry, panic in nature. It's, oh, no water. It's a drought. That sucks. I'll wait for the rainfall to come in the fall, right? And if don't make it, I don't make it. But in the spring, when there's more rain, something else is going to come up next to me,
Right.
right? There's no hurry, panic. And I am so guilty of the hurry, panic and 200 projects in front of me. And over the last 3 years, like the slowdown of, oh my gosh, I actually trust that my bills will be paid. I actually can trust that this is a cycle and that like will attract like and the right people will show up, and they always do. We're just not used to trusting the cycle of life. And the in between time that's where we learn all that. But we're so afraid of birth and we're so afraid of death. That keeps us in this
Wow.
turmoil, which stupid.
Yeah. Whenever you speak, I always try to figure out what is the lesson in it. What am I learning? What am I taking away from this? What you were saying just now, I don't think that we ever really sit with anything, but I think that is probably because of how we've been conditioned. My dad calls it a microwave generation. We are so used to having things at our fingertips. We have our devices, we have computers, we have phones, we have all of these things, technological things that do work for us. But when you try to be technical with life and you don't just walk out the process, that's when you end up with a problem, right? So it shouldn't have been a problem, but now it is a problem because you didn't follow the process. And that's a lesson that I have to adhere to because it's not something that I haven't learned. I just have to adhere to.
And we just need to remember it. We all know
Right.
it, but man, this little black box that's with us all the
Yeah,
time saying, look at me, look at me. It's designed to build in our serotonin and our dopamine
exactly.
receptors, right? Which used to be playing in a field with a dog and drinking out of a hose and like going to the canyon and playing in the river without a camera to capture the
Right.
moment. I remember when we first got that disc camera, because that's how old I am, and we could actually take a camera, but then we had to wait 2 weeks for those to get
Right.
processed. And they were all blurry anyway. But it was just the thought that, oh my gosh, look, she's in a tube. She's going down the river. Like we had a captured blurry moment of it where we had never had that before. And now we have super crisp, high 4K video of it, which we can use for good or evil. But yeah, that we're not used to the slowdown, which is why labor's so hard, right? It's a lot of hurry up and do nothing while our body processes the baby out.
Right.
And if we are good at figuring that out in our own lives, how much better are we to be able to teach these moms?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is boring. Yeah, this is part of it. I would rather be able to teach them that during pregnancy so that it's not a big
Absolutely.
surprise during labor. But we can only teach what we live because otherwise it's surface.
Absolutely.
So as doulas, it's our responsibility to like sort that stuff out ahead of time.
Absolutely.
Okay, if your birth world right now is topsy-turvy, not consistent clients, wanting to meet people, network and whatever, it gets frustrating. I know that because I've been through that. What keeps you from quitting and saying, I'm done? I've got 4 kids to raise. Like I can't keep putting effort towards this. What keeps you from saying no to that?
The thing that keeps me from quitting is knowing that this is a process. This is a journey. This is not something that is going to be finished today. This is a journey. It is ongoing. On the other side of where I am right now, there is something to be obtained, but I will never know if I was able to obtain it if I don't continue to go. On the other side of it, though, there's something there that is sure, that is guaranteed, but I will never know. I will never obtain it if I quit. And so even times where it feels like I'm not getting clients, or I had a couple weeks ago, I was expecting things to go a certain way with the contract and it didn't go that way. But it's still coming. It's still coming. And so just continue to go. Don't quit. If you quit, you know what the outcome is. There's no progress. So we keep going and we're going to reach the other side. It's short. It's a journey.
And if you don't know what's coming, what is your language like? Because, with the hypnobirthing, I'm a language freak. What is your language like when the contract doesn't go? Or when you say, oh, you know what you said in one of your things that I thought, I'm going to bring that up. You said, I am the poster child for setbacks and adversity.
Right. I am.
I want to challenge that. Is that your story?
That's not my story. That has been a part of my journey to have setbacks. But the fact that I don't just lay down and quit. Sometimes somebody asked me one time, they said, is this truly faith that you have? Or is this delusion? I think there is a fine
faith or delusion.
There's a fine line between faith and delusion. But with faith is invested in a positive direction. Delusion is not sustainable. Delusion is not tangible and will never yield anything tangible. However, if you stick with it on the other side of faith, faith already is the substance. Then that is when a person can develop the mindset of just being emotionally or financially, or even in terms of growth, where they can feel destitute and where they can feel like they haven't made it anywhere. And so I continue to go. And even though you challenge me, I challenge myself. I recognize that this is where I am in my journey. I recognize there was a certain way that I was ordained to be. There was a certain path. There was a certain adversity that I was already ordained because of who I am to. And when I say ordained, I mean like set aside for. That was already a part of my story. So I don't just stop there because it was already supposed to be a part of this journey that God saw. I don't just stop there. I say, okay, challenge accepted. But I know who I am. But I had to grow there. I hadn't always been there. So I accept being the poster child for it, but I don't accept staying there. I know that I'm going to continue to grow and more fight is going to come. I'm 5'1", maybe 110, 115 pounds. I had to realize the power But if I didn't have the setbacks, if I didn't have the adversity, if I was not the poster child, I would not know the power that's on the inside of me. And so it's good. It's good. I welcome the challenge. It's like an everyday David and Goliath thing with my life.
And I think all the adversities that we have and the setbacks that we have, we can look at them as stepping stones or stumbling blocks.
Right.
And I feel like the way, because I do this too, I feel like you're living in your future self.
Yes.
You get up, you habit stack, you say your prayer, you put out your good affirmations, you're constantly thinking, who can I help today? Even if it's 5 minutes, and then the rest of the time is with your family. And some days that's just what business is. We don't get to our business or posting content because kids and poop and feeding, like just regular day
Right.
stuff. Or you have to go to the water park that day because it's time for memories, right? We can't be so focused on the setback that we completely quit. And I think that the faith that you're talking about also is a burning passion for knowing you're in the right place. Right now, what looks like it's not manifesting, I look at it too. If your clients haven't shown up or whatever, it's just because they haven't had sex yet and there's no baby there yet. But they're on their way, because I don't believe we attend births unless we are contracted with those people on some level.
Right.
We are not going to miss what is meant for us. And sometimes the rest period is the time when we are developing ourselves, learning new things, and we're stepping over the river.
Right.
It's not a stumbling block. Oh, too big a boulder. Guess I'm on this side.
Right.
Like, we can give up like that. I don't see you doing that. And that's one of the things that I've always loved about you.
Well, thank you.
Like every time you go live on TikTok, like every time, I'm so excited. And I miss them a lot of the times. It's like, oh, she sent you a live invite. And I'm like, darn it. But yes, but I know you did it. So every time I get that, I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, I think my favorite, there's a lot of favorites, but there are two of my most favorite things are to consider life and my faith and everything in terms of where I'm going as a journey. And then the other thing is to look at it, and I say this especially with birth, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so when I look at those two things, those are like the two things that make me say, okay, well, we can't quit here. When you're on a journey, when you're on your way somewhere, when you're on the highway, if you are driving your car down the highway and you stop in the middle of the highway, you're going to get hurt, and it's going to be detrimental for everyone that is behind you. That's the mindset that I have. I'm on a journey with my children. I'm on a journey with my family. I'm on a journey with my life. And it is detrimental to the children that are behind me, the children that I'm raising, the generations that are coming behind me. It's detrimental to them if I stop. I cannot stop on this highway. I have to continue going. And that's just the thing that keeps me going every single time I want to quit, because I do want to quit sometimes.
You just showed the audience what I love the most about you. It's your way to explain and stand for your passion. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Exactly. And thinking about future generations, because you are changing it for all of them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We are not done with our discussion. We still have several questions to go over. I'm going to ask you back because we both have time restraints today. So everybody, join us for our next discussion with Niki. And thank you for being here today, girl.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
We'll see everybody next week. Thanks for joining us today. And remember, it's your body, your choice, and finding your voice is your power. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us in all the places, and go to BirthEducationCenter.com for our blog and more online education classes. And we'll see you next week.